that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AoA, check me out. Look, blocked in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AoA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with the boys, Isaiah.
Oh, hi, yo.
And Gavin.
What is Gucci Shoes?
And today we are talking about Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 16, or I think it was 75 in totality. This one was called Above and Below, which I just realized is because Porco comes up from the bottom and then the blimps are up top. Blew my mind. Anyway, we're talking about this today, and it'll be the last time we're talking about Attack on Titan, at least covering episode to episode for the last, for a couple of months. The Season 2 trailer apparently just dropped, or I'm sorry, Season 4 Part 2 trailer just dropped, and I think it's Mappa, again, that's doing it, and that's going to come out in the winter of 2022. So I'm assuming January at some point. So not too far off as compared to some previous seasons, so we just got to hold out a little bit longer, but I could not be more excited. But this episode, let's talk about it. This was pretty crazy. If you guys enjoy the content today, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think of our discussion, our conversation, this episode in particular? Obviously, don't spoil anything. What stuck out to you? Was there anything that we may have glossed over or missed in this? But we're going to break down some of the crucial scenes that we had, some questions that we might have had, predictions on where the show is going, etc. And if you want to catch our live reaction to it, you can do that by going to our AoA Reacts channel. The link is in the description down below. Again, that's AoA Reacts. So you can catch all of our Attack on Titan live reactions, among many other that we've covered. Jujutsu Kaisen, Hunter x Hunter, Haikyuu, etc. There's a bunch there. It's a fun time. Definitely go subscribe. But getting into this episode. So, Aaron's an absolute savage. We could get that started. But before that, I know you guys were a little salty because we didn't get any resolution or conclusion to if Levi is actually dead or not. But it seems that Zeke, like Reiner and like a lot of these Titans, just, you know, or people that we want to die but just won't, are incredibly resourceful because for all intents and purposes, I guess he's alive. I don't know if he's going to be at the same level that he was, but I could only assume that with time, unless he's like dead, that he's going to regenerate at some point or another, which means he's still in the picture until he's not in the picture. The same can't be said for Levi, although we have not seen a body. So actually, I'm kind of in the same boat with that. Levi, for all intents and purposes, is still alive in my book, but I think they're definitely, if he is alive, that he is out of commission for the rest of the show in terms of fighting ability. I would be surprised just because I feel like he is almost too powerful for the circumstances that have happened right now. That's my personal take on it. But I know you guys were a little salty about the whole resolution. What were your thoughts on that initial scene?
Look, man, I mean, you're saying like you're excited. I don't even want to watch the show anymore. It's kind of mid, and I've always felt it was kind of mid. And Levi's non-conclusion just confirmed it. Also, Zeke's ass 2021. No, but it is interesting. Like, I say interesting. Like, I didn't know. Like, the whole time, ever since we got back to the island, I've been like, all right, guys, what's the game plan here? Because Marley's not really just going to, like, take that beating that Aaron gave them and, like, just be like, oh, well, we did deserve it. We are, you know, they're like, oh, no. So, like, I'm like, okay, are we going to get the army together? We're going to get, like, you know, all your scouts and all those boys and stuff. And then, like, oh, Yelena's coming. Like, we're bringing some Marley traders. And it's like, no, we just ended up fighting amongst ourselves as to, like, what the right thing is to do with who. But it's like, okay, guys, but, like, this is still happening. Like, you know, Marley is still making their way over here. They're still going to come on to this island and all of our shit up. So, like, if we don't, you know, I get, like, you know, what Yelena and, you know, Anya Capocco and, you know, all the other Marley and traders, except for, like, Nicolo, want to do with the Founding Titan and, like, Zeke and Aaron's plan versus what Aaron wants to do is different than what Hanj wants to do. But it's like, guys, we have a literal common fucking enemy. Like, can we not, until we just whoop all their asses consecutively, put our to aside and, like, just unite so that we can at least stop that? Because rest assured, if they start air bombing Titans out of the air when they roll up on our ground, and we're in the exact scenario we're in now, where we have no soldiers, we have no backup, like we're not winning. How would we win? It would be one thing if even Zeke was here backing Eren, because then it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna do like some founding Titan and royal blood, jumbo schmumbo thing, and like control all the other Titans that Marley has. It's like, okay, fair enough. That's how you level the playing field. But Zeke's in some random Titan's gullet somewhere in 10 bucks and 2. I don't know where he is. I don't even know if he knows what's going on right now. Like, it just feels like we're in such a shitty situation, and Eren is a savage, so of course he's going to be like, yeah, I'll take you all on. But it's like, can you, nigga? Can you, though? There's, like, so many Titans on their side, and you are just one Titan. You are a pretty busted Titan, but you're just one. You have literally zero backup. And the only thing... it would be so easy for me to just rely on Eren's savagery here, but the one thing that concerns me is specifically the fact that Pieck mentions that, like, the world is getting into a place where, like, Titans are no longer the threat they used to be, right? Like, this isn't to say that Marley without Titans could take on Eren, but, like, just saying the phrase or just being like, we have a Titan, just no longer holds the same weight that it used to, regardless if it's one Titan or two Titan. Now, I get he's a founding Titan and all that stuff, but, like, again, it's just... it becomes at least for me, it becomes this matter of like quality over quantity. It's like, if we just have so many more things than you, how good is that one thing you still have if it's just one thing?
Yeah. Isaiah Rants 2021. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I forgot what that was even about, but that was good.
No, I hate the show.
No, I think, first of all, I think Aaron's got this. Okay. He's a savage. But
Okay, Flock, relax.
all right, listen. If y'all get to rant, I got it. Hang on. If y'all get to rant about Levi and how he's like never gonna do that, like let me have Aaron. Okay, it's only fair. It's literally only fair.
I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying he's not a villain.
He's not a villain.
He's not a villain.
Oh, that was good. He's not a villain. Okay, he's not going along with that plan. I refuse to believe it until I see cold hard proof. And even then, I'll skip that episode. So, no, I genuinely do think there is something, though, to remember. And that's, I don't know the extent to their, I don't know if they could just inject these people and toss them out the blimp, like if that's going to be their plan, because before they had Zeke. So Zeke can make them transform on Scream. Mm-hmm. So they would jump out and then he'd call it, because like if they transform too early, they'll blow up the blimp or like whatever. So I don't know if that's their play. So they might literally just have Reiner, Pieck, and Porco, which, don't get me wrong, those are three, they're Titans, for all intents and purposes. But we did see Eren, and granted, he had more help last time, but he didn't have the Warhammer Titan, beat the out of like a lot of the Titans at the same time. The Warhammer one he fought, the Jaw, etc. So if it's just those three Titans, I say it's a big deal. But I do think that it might be Eren v3, and I think that he might be able to put in some work. But now Marley, obviously, even if they don't have Titans, has superior technology in terms of their firepower, literally, and their coordination and military strategy, being that they've been at this for a pretty long time. They're a militaristic state. They've been fighting people, so they know what that's like, and they know what fighting Titans is like. So they do have an advantage in terms of raw experience. So that's going to be really interesting to see. In terms of Zeke, I don't know what role he's going to play. Just to circle back to that for a second, that was some nifty he did there, but I really don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to go over and Hanj is going to see Levi with Flock and all them, and that's going to be a thing, but really not too much more to talk about on that subject because there's such a minimal amount of time. But then we get Yelena as well, kind of giving Pixis the 411, and you see the armbands, which is kind of ironic, right, in that regard. But she's like, you learn a lot from your enemies, etc. And Pixis is just like, This guy is just like, dude, I don't know, like.
Well, we f***ed up.
I don't know anymore. That was crazy. But it seems like there's this little bit of a shaky foundation, which could play a role later about people that are literally just being held at theoretical gunpoint, like on command. Those people don't know that Zeke is out of the picture, sort of, at the moment. So they lose that leverage. The whole thing could flop on its head. Also awkward that, now the entire military is dismantled, and that's when they attack. Perfect timing as well. So that was pretty crazy. But then the jail cell down at the bottom, I want to talk about because that was a very telling scene. We had Jean, Connie, and the gang, all of them. Mikasa was there, and Armin is going to tell, Jean what the deal was, because Jean kind of had the hots for Mikasa, and I feel like even if he knows that it's like, all right, she's like head over heels with Eren, that he's still got this like, okay, I'm still gonna like protect her.
But I feel like Gene would hear, if he heard the actual story, like what Eren said, it's like, oh, so Mikasa's like low key enslaved to Eren's will. So I have a shot.
A true simp. A true white knight.
That's some like Kyoko Tanaka. It's like I totally feel like Gene would do is like, all right,
dude,
like Aaron's a dick, but I'm in.
Goalie in soccer, right? It's like, Jean, there's like the equivalent to 40 goalies in the net. Like he's like, but I could still score. So there's something there. No, that was funny. But Mikasa's just like, drop it. It is what it is, because she's just over it. But what was interesting is that Jean says, now fair, he didn't have the full like 411 on what he said, but I was surprised at him saying that. He's like, Eren would have to be a lunatic to do that, actually, right? Like to do that. And it seemed like, I may have misread the scene, but it seems like there's like a small spark of Jean that like, this just doesn't add up, right? Mm-hmm. That he's there. And I share that sentiment, that I think that he's doing it on purpose to try and make them hate him. Otherwise, it would have been a different scenario if it was really like they were meaningless, personally. So that's interesting. And I want to see how that plays a role later. But then we get Yelena coming down with the squad and explaining the plan to them. And I want to talk about Armin here for a second and what we think it is, because we had a lot of double agent playing this episode with Pieck, but I don't know whose motivations are what anymore. Literally, everyone's in the dark. There's fog everywhere. I don't know exactly what Eren wants to do anymore. Zeke seems to be the only one that I can understand, because they laid the plan out fully. But Eren, we don't really know for certain what it is. In terms of Armin now with Pieck, we just found out what it was, but there's a lot of trickery going on, and we need answers here. But I want to talk about Armin and what you guys think here, because for a second I was like, oh, okay, like he's like laughing at the fact that like Yelena explained that, and like that's so ridiculous. Like, I'm crying over like how like deluded you are, or if he was genuinely like, no, that's such a noble plan. And to me, it kind of like struck me dumb for a second. I just want to get this out here for just in general, because I felt compelled to say something. I was even debating making like a full-on like video essay about this, and I still might, expounding upon thoughts, because I don't want to get caught in too much of it. But it was kind of scary, downright frightening, actually, how much of the internet, I would roughly say 75% of the people that I had seen in comments and various things, that were like totally okay with Zeke's plan, or at least if not totally okay, were like encouraging it, or if they weren't encouraging it and weren't totally okay, like we're like, okay, I get it, like, like that's it though. And like the I get it people, fair enough, because it's like, all right, I get it too. But like, it's kind of downright frightening what the proposition is here. That they're basically being denied the right to propagate, to let their culture survive, let their people survive, let them live on in this sort of state. And I could get into all the deets onto why I think that's that's not really for the best. And really, to sum it up, it's that Titans or not, or just humanity or not, so long as man exists, there's going to be some sort of element of human suffering, and whether that comes from the Marlians, whether it comes from the island or the nation that Mikasa was inherited from or whatever, whether it comes from any of these places in Attack on Titan, there's going to be war, there's going to be destruction, there's going to be weapons of mass scale, and there's going to be suffering in some way, shape, or form. And obviously that's terrible, but I don't believe that just kind of taking one species or one race off the map and just putting them on No Friend Island over there, or just eradicating them completely in that really solves the overall problem of world peace in that. That's my initial thoughts. But with that being said, there's a reason, a method to my madness as to why I expound my opinion there. That's a very surface level of it. I would be upset, the long-winded way of saying, if Armin was downright cool with that plan. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on whether you think he is cool with that plan, actually, and what your opinions of Armin would be if he was cool with that plan. I'm very curious to know that. Thought that was a big point.
What you thinking over there?
All right, as the biggest Armin stan here, troubled. It's interesting because I don't know. With all the points you've made before, I could see from both sides. I understand the arguments. I'm not in the boat where, obviously I think it's wrong to kill all the kids. I don't think that's the right play. I understand the reasoning behind it, but at the end of the day, whether your argument is to get rid of the Titans lineage, whatever you want, at the end of the day, advancing societies, they're always going to find something new there's always going to be another scapegoat, and technology, look in our day and age, that's what it is. Technology, wars, weapons, bombs, you name it. It's going to Titans. Yeah, that'll erase Titans. Screw Titans. It's going to move on to the next best thing, and really it just includes who wants to be in power and who wants to have all that power. So at the end of the day, I don't feel like the plan that Zeke and Aaron have fundamentally would solve any.
Zeke has, not Aaron.
What'd I say, Aaron?
No, you said Zeke and Aaron.
Zeke
and until
and
we get
Aaron,
definitive
until
proof,
we get
it's
definitive
Zeke and
proof.
Aaron.
No, it's not, because that's guilty before proven innocent.
All right, well, let me
instead
talk,
of
you
innocent
mother,
before
and I
proven
agree
guilty.
with you. But however, I
Okay.
agree with you. I don't think Aaron's on that page. However, at the moment, it is stated that he is. Either way, regardless, the plan that is being followed through with them, at the end of the day, seemingly would not solve anything, because even if it gets rid of the Eldians, with the other nations that are, sided by each other, there's always going to be turmoil. It's just going to move on to the next race of people. So I don't think it's going to solve anything in the long term. It'll get rid of Eldians and maybe the lineage. Okay. So knowing Armin and the type of person that he is, what makes it hard to believe is that fundamentally what he wants is world peace and to stop fighting, and he doesn't understand the reason for fighting, which, yes, and that's one of the reasons why I like him. And I can see where, and that's what makes this point hard, because you get the explanation with I did, which is, okay, for this instance, if they went through the euthanasia process, yes, Eldians would disappear. There would be no more Titans. Theoretically, on this front of the world, the fighting would cease to exist. Okay, if that's the mindset you're going to look at it, all right, theoretically, yes, it would be going down that path, whether you're getting into morality or any of the other layers, surface layer only. Yes, it could solve that point. But for me, in Armin, I always feel like he is that person who looks layers beneath it and would realize the underlying purpose, that the euthanasia, like, there's more to this process than just, world peace would come out of it. Like, I feel like he's the type of person who knows that this might work fundamentally, and logistically it may make sense. However, it's not like it's an all-encompassing thing that really affects the world other than what's going on in this little island. And that's where I don't feel like he would buy into this plan, because he knows that, like, it won't solve everything. It might solve this instance through a very convoluted and unmoral way, but at the end of the day, it's not like the greater picture in which he feels is no more fighting on all fronts. It wouldn't be a solution to that. And I would hope that he would work for, and that's what, coming out of this war and then, doing other things would hopefully alleviate in terms of global war. But as you said, that there's always going to be suffering, and unfortunately, that's just reality. And whether you say that's stupid of me to think or not, it's the world we live in. So, and for me, I don't want him to have the mindset, and what makes it hard was that he was crying. And I just feel like he is just a very emotional person, and he is the type of guy that I feel like if you poke at his heartstrings the right way, it would directly correlate to crying and showing tears, and we haven't seen it in a long time. And for him to just get an explanation like that and to fake it seems like he would need to win an Oscar, but at the other token, everybody is doing it. Everybody, and that's the thing, is they're getting to that age where they are able to and have the capabilities to, and I do think that he would have the capability to fake it. And that was my first thought when he was doing it, that he was faking this thought. But at the same time, knowing the person that he is and that he genuinely just wants the fighting to stop, I could see through like a very desperate and like loss of hope sense that he could think that this is a noble like way out, and it actually is kind of terrifying. But like, I wouldn't just say, like, I wouldn't throw it off the table to just say that he was like lying. I think it could lean both ways, but I really hope it doesn't lead into the euthanasia process. But that is my rant on Armin.
No, fair points. What do you think? Do you think he's about it? And if he is or isn't, would you be upset? Do you think it's logistical?
I don't think he's about it, but I do think that in classic Armin fashion, he is trying to approach Yelena and these people with the plan through the one method that nobody else has really seemed to, which is compassion. Like, I think he is trying to understand and get on common ground with you, like, because the opposing side of this argument, in my opinion, rightfully so, has been like, nigga, what the fuck? Are you crazy? Kill all the kids? What are you, psychopath?
And I know before you continue, I want to clarify something, because I know Gavin and Isaiah, and like they're saying kill all the kids. We understand let me clarify this. We understand that they're not killing anyone in the sense that they are not having the babies born and then kill them, or they are not killing the people that are there. But when I'm assuming, if I could speak for you guys here, correct me if I'm wrong, when you're using the term killing, it's really denying their right to continue on as a species.
To live,
they're not,
which
they're
is
not,
to kill.
I just want to clarify that because people take that word "kill" and be like, "You guys don't get the plan at all."
It's indirect murder. It's not. They're not directly killing kids, but if you make it so that children can't exist, that's the same thing as denying them the right to live.
You're not giving them an option.
Yeah, which is to kill them, which is to take their life away from them. So, same thing in my book. But I think most people have reacted again like that to this plan, and those would be their enemies. They're like, oh, all right, they're not about the plan. They got like mad and started yelling at me and stuff. But it's like I think in classic Armin fashion, Armin is trying this approach where he's like, okay, I get it. I genuinely understand what it is you guys are trying to do. I genuinely understand that what it is you guys want, like the seed that's at the heart of this plan, is like peace. Like you want to help people. You want to help these Eldians. You're tired of the traumas that you and people you know have faced, and you can't bear the thought of people growing up and being born to face these same traumas. I get that. Like, because I think the second you break down that barrier, you're already 10 steps ahead of anybody else that is opposing this plan through means of aggressive or violent action. Because once you do that, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's talk. You know what I mean? And like, not to say that it's like, you know what? Thank you, Armin. Now, if you want to tweak the plan, go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but you get closer to that step. You get like once you get there. Like, I think genuinely that is Armin's gift here. And you know, it is ironic coming from a show like this that is so centered around like this military strength and like fighting opposed, you know, enemies and nations and stuff. But Armin's ability to negotiate, but like negotiate on a level of empathy and understanding. Like I think if Armin feels that if he can't understand this enemy, these people, like that's when they've really lost. That's when they have no chance, and there is no point, and there's no difference between fighting for this thing or some other thing, because it doesn't matter. But like if Armin can get through to either Yelena, and I think even like to Armin, this is like subsequently Eren, right? Because if he believes Eren is about this, understanding Yelena's point of view in this plan is not just important for this conversation, but it's important for Armin ever being able to understand Eren again and understand what he's doing and why he's doing it. Maybe if Armin can't talk to Eren anymore, figuring out and talking with the people that Aaron's working with is the next best way for him to figure out what the is going on and how he can stop or help or change any of it.
And that's the big thing, because we've gone through the gambit in terms of we know problems and figuring out solutions to fix these problems, especially with Marley. And we've already sat at the big main Oval Office table and tried to come up with ways and come up with plans. And, you know, that river's run dry. So the real, if that is true, and it very well could be what Armin is doing, which I can see him fulfilling in that character, like that, it's his character archetype to be that type of person. But what would really need to come out of doing this and showing said compassion is the biggest keyword in all of this, and that's compromise. Because no matter what compassion he shows and what ground he's trying to level in terms of their relationship or understanding, it's going to be the ability to take these feelings and then be able to culminate them into something positive that you believe is right, and also staying true to what they believe is doing morally and nobly right. So it's being able to bring those two together and bridge them, and that is what I feel is going to be the biggest challenge if, and this is all semantics at that point, if that is something that he is trying to do and how he is going to be able to facilitate another plan around it. Because, I mean, we look at Phlox and some of the Jaegerists, like, they're dead set on this plan. Like, there are going to be just as many people, if you're able to find, like, this common ground, in a sense, just for lack of a better term, to propose a new plan and continue with something like that is going to be extremely hard. So if this is a reason and something that he's trying to do and a tactic, I really hope that he's able to come up with something that nobody else has thought of, because it's going to take some big brain moves to like move around this chessboard, because there's just so many different sides playing, so many different ideologies, and like it's almost impossible to tie them all together into like one cohesive plan that'll work without a hitch. Because even people who are the big brains like Zeke and other people who are coming up with plans, there are flaws within them, as highly regarded as these people are in this society. So it's just going to be brutally hard for Armin to come up with anything, but he is also the person that will do it. So I will say I've not given up on you, Armin. I believe in you.
Yeah, that's the hope. It's a tough thing to wrangle, like you said.
Yeah.
It's like playing checkers and chess and shogi and 28 things at the same time. It's definitely really tough. And not to mention, too, that I don't even know that even everyone in the Jaegerist camp is in line with that plan. Like, I don't even know if Flock or some of those people know that it's a euthanization plan, because it seems that only Yelena has talked to Aaron and Zeke, obviously, and some of the higher ups, and that they know. So like Flock might not even know, but that's what he's fighting for. But then again, like I said, like I don't even think that that's Aaron's plan. So like that could be a different thing entirely. So like everyone's playing double agent around here. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough hill to climb for Armin to do that. But you're right. I do think he would be the one out of anyone to hopefully do it. So that'll be interesting to see. I really hope that he is in that route of being like, okay, I understand your point. I understand that it's like there's this peace-loving way, at least the way you see it. But listen, there's got to be a better way to go about this instead of just nixing a race of people off the planet. You know what I mean?
So we don't know Aaron's plan, like you said. But even if he did have a better plan, I really think we're at the point where it's not going to matter what plan is right or who is right, because everybody is just on so many different pages, and unity is not a factor in it. And now you have Marley knocking on your door. Like, there's also a part of me that it doesn't matter what plan you come up with and how foolproof it is, because everyone is so divided that just uniting everybody back off of everything that has happened is going to be near impossible unless you really have a strong leader to emerge that can bring everybody together, which Aaron theoretically could be the person to do that, but he's also been burning some bridges. So really, and that's the thing. And now you have enemies on your door and even more problems. So did we already shoot ourselves in both feet, and now we're really crawling into a ditch, our grave? And, that's the thing where it's like, I don't even know if, as good as Aaron's plan, if he even has one, is it able to encompass everything, which you'd hope it would, but bro, he needs to pull out a couple hat tricks to even make this work. So it's going to be a ride for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy things going on. I'm curious to see if Armin, when everything goes down, transforms. That'll be interesting to see. But
I mean, he said that if he transforms, it would destroy the city. So if he can get into a position where he's the only one around,
oh boy,
that I guess does open the gate.
Yeah,
but the other thing that is interesting is Pieck and her whole, Pieck or Pieck, whatever, her whole stance in this episode, because, as she sort of lays out, ultimately it doesn't seem like while she's not like turning coat to side with the Eldians and Aaron's side and the Jaegerists and all them, it does seem like she's not in Marley's camp, that she's not like singing Marley's praise and like, oh, I hope I can die as an honorary Marleyan. She seems to sort of just be like, well, my faith is in the people I know, right? These soldiers, these sergeants, these lieutenants, these generals who have been barking me around, ordering me around, have thrown my family into internment camps. Like, I don't know who they are, right? They're just these this presence, this loud voice, barking orders at me. And then these Eldians, these other people, these people on Paradise Island, have came over and destroyed, several, innocent people that we knew and just people who had absolutely nothing to do with this fight. But the people that she does know are Porco, Reiner, like these warriors, the people that she's been in several wars with through thick and thin, and the people that she trusts with her life, which seems to be this weird, third, side almost. You know what I mean? It's like, well, no, I'm not coming in here and trying to pick, Eldy and Marley and who did it, worst, who's the most, it's like, I'm just going to side with my comrades, which, for all intents and purposes is not unnoble, and it's not wrong or crude or it makes sense. And especially again, when you talk about the way war fucks with people's minds, those are probably the people that she feels the most safe around, right? Are the people that are going through the exact same thing she is. I think I think the way she told that story to Aaron about why she was turning coat with her dad and stuff, I think all that is true. I just think that obviously isn't the reason, she's not turning coat 100% to go over to Paradise Island. But I do think that she genuinely wants to leave this world. And when her time is up as a Titan, feeling like Eldians have a brighter future than they did when she was born.
Yeah, I feel like she ain't helping. I'm not going to lie. No. Hot take. Yeah, I totally understand that. It's almost noble to a sense, I guess. I don't know. I think wow, it's a hard one because I get it in the sense that it's like these are her comrades, right? These are the people that she's been through thick and thin. It's like I can trust these people. I don't trust you, Aaron, and fair enough, right? Like for all the reasons you said, I won't sound like a broken record here, but it's just like I just don't know where you go with this past point A, because it's like you telling that to Gabby means that you're not stupid. You understand that that Eldia, right? Like that Gabby included, all these people are really just disposable at this point, according to Marley, because the Titans are becoming outpaced by technology and therefore irrelevant, and therefore Marley can't use them for militaristic need. And then if anything, they're just a threat, right? So, or just a nuisance to take care of. So they discard them, right? Whether that means killing them or exiling them or whatever. I don't know what that is, but the point is like, Pieck, that going forward. You just laid that out to Gabby. So like, I get it that it's like, you want to be with your friends. And it's like, maybe if it's just, we're coming here for the kids, but it's like, at the end of the road, what happens there if Porco actually successfully ate him, right? He gets the founding Titan. What's your plan? Like, you're going back with Theo, who's the Marleyan general commander. Like, he's been like, sure, he's been like getting some camaraderie, like, hey, chum, you know what I mean? Like with some of the people there, but like the dude's a Marleyan, like through and through, and like cares for Marley specifically, and like has not reserved himself from treating some people like absolute garbage or sending them in front of machine gun fire to just get annihilated, right? While he just provides whatever militaristic needs that Marley beckons of him. So like, I don't know what your plan is past
I
that,
guess
right?
that's,
it's like,
to be fair, that's to assume that they plan on going back. Like, what if this is their big break? And that, like, this is the moment where they decide to,
what, go against Theo as well,
Yeah.
the commander Zeke. It just seems far-fetched, I guess, to me personally, because it's
well,
like
that's
you
true,
have,
but
you have a
so
bunch
does
of,
Aaron, whatever Aaron's plan is.
Well,
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just listen, I'm not denying whatever it is, because we technically don't know exactly what it is. Obviously, if it's the euthanization one, I've already voiced my complaints on that one. My point is that I don't understand where Pieck goes from there. And kind of to harken this back, I'm curious to know, Gavin, your thoughts on this. Pulling back, because there's a lot of times that we've had conversations, and a lot of times, specifically you've brought up, you'll be like, well, if someone so-and-so talked with some other person, right? If they had made time to try and do that, and there have been a lot of times where we've had conversations around that. You've agreed. We had it with Zeke. We've had it prior in earlier episodes, etc. I would argue that this might be one of those times. I'm curious to know what your thoughts on that are, as like with this time as compared to others. Like, could Pieck not have tried to talk to Aaron, be like, yo, what's your plan? Because she had him in that moment to try and do it. It seemed like she was very gung-ho to be like, okay, like I don't trust Aaron. I'm not going to tell him. Like, I've already decided what plan I'm going through with, and that's to try and nab the founding Titan in this moment. But I just don't see past that. If you really think that you guys are eventually going to be discarded, I don't know where your line of logic is for like the betterment of Eldia, the future of Eldia. It seems very short-sighted in that moment. It seems like you're going to have to do something past that, because once Marley is the founding Titan, like this whole show's been around.
I guess to bring a different point, not to dance around that question, because I've had something stewing in my mind that is not going to make as much sense, and I'm sorry about it because it's been hard to really connect all the dots with it, but I've had this weird underlying thing, and I've been feeling this way after everything that happened with Pieck in this plan. I do think that Reiner, Pieck, and Porco and all these people, I think that they definitely have a plan other than just the initial him jumping out and getting Aaron. Like, that would have been cool if they got it. I'm pretty sure they were expecting it wasn't going to go in one piece. So I do think that there is a long plan going out with it, and there actually is a part of me who is almost in Isaiah's court when he says, not necessarily that he's going to like kill Theo with everybody coming over, but I do think that they are going to make some sort of stand on Paradise Island, because with the way she laid out in front of Aaron, everything that has happened with the Marlins in that relationship, she's obviously aware of that. And I feel like since she is that hyper aware of it, that they definitely have talked about it, i.e. Reiner and all these people that they've had. And I even think back with Zeke, way back when they were all in one unit, I think they've had this conversation, and it's something that they've known about for a long time. And I'm starting to get this weird feeling that from day one with Zeke and Aaron and this whole, like, the friendship that they had and brotherhood and, this whole splitting of sides and coming together, I almost feel like this literally has all been planned from day one. And this is literally the way to have a combining of all of them coming together at this point in time for a reason with Theo and Marley's army being as weak as it is, because that was one of the big things with Reiner and them coming over, and they're like, hey, Marley's army, after this hit from Eren, we're weak. We're not going to be able to really go over and do all these things and blah, blah, blah. And there's all these stipulations. And I just feel like it's oddly aligning in this way where it almost makes sense that everybody is now coming together at this one piece, being not on Marley lands, on Paradise Island, with a weaker army of Marley after the initial attack. And now knowing that at least Pieck is aware of, the unjust things that have happened to their people, which is obvious because they lived through it, but even kind of showing face with Eren that, obviously it was a lie, the playing sides. I do think that all of them are aware of what's going on, and I do think that they do want it to stop, and they are going to try to do something to stop it in a way. And I actually think that all of this is the plan on what's going on, and I don't know how it all aligns. And I really think that's going to be fleshed out, but I do think there's a reason why all the Titans are going to be on Paradise Island, why the Marleyan army, which is so short right now and a couple blimps coming through, are all coming here. Like, I do think that there's something like that nobody has thought of that has been set in motion, whether it's from Zeke or not, that has been overlooked by everything. And almost every idea that we've been shown so far is a Trojan horse, in a sense, to really play out the really long con game, which is what we have yet to see. And I don't know why. I could be completely off all semantics here, but I have a weird feeling that this euthanization plan is just a ruse, like literally everything. And although it is backed by something, and we have a lot of evidence saying that no, it's not, and I could completely be wrong, I'm just throwing crap out there, but I just have this weird feeling that someone's pulling these strings that knew that this was going to almost happen in this way, and the stars are aligning, and it's happening for a reason. And I don't have any real evidence by it, but it's more just I have this weird gut inner feeling, and I could be completely wrong and look like an idiot and be like, oh, well, you've already seen the XYZ and Zeke's whole backstory and blah, blah, blah. Yes, I saw it, and I know, but logistically, I'm telling myself I'm wrong, but it's that gut feeling that is just there. But it's weird because then again, like what you were saying, it doesn't make sense for her to be aware of their situation and explain these things to Eren. And then, what really does happen after this plan? Because really, nothing. You get Eren in the Founding Titan. What do you do with it? Okay, do you go back to Marley? Do you play charades? If you're already expecting them to get rid of you, are you going to just try to make it oh, my family's all good, we're okay because I did these things, we're honorary Marleyans? I don't think they're that stupid or brainwashed. They don't seem like that, and they very well could be, but I just really think the story is going to try to dive deeper into these ideas and just not keep it at the level that we're seeing it as. And that's where I'm trying to figure out that other underlying layer beneath all of that. And the only way I can see it is there's just everything being a lie so far. And, there's really something more underlying to everything that nobody knows. So I don't know. That is when I'm going to pass it back to you. I am sorry for doing this. Also sorry for anybody who listened to that and is probably calling me an idiot. I'm just saying.
Well, hang on, because I asked you a question. I want to know. I genuinely want to know your thoughts. Do you think
your question?
All those things considered?
Yes.
Do you think that there is a world where Pieck should or could have whatever? Would you default to the prior arguments you made a lot of times before, where it's do you think Pieck should have talked to Eren or someone along that side or whatever, because that's been an opinion that's been voiced pretty frequently. And I personally feel that out of all the situations, the way I see it personally, this was actually the best opportunity for someone to talk with someone else in that sense, right? That they were kind of at this, at whatever was going down. I was just curious.
Talk above what, because they did almost talk in a sense where it was although it wasn't this is my plan, this is our, it wasn't on, oh, how can we solve this together? But for me, all the information that she said to him, and although they were lies in a sense, would have been what they would talk about if they were to sit down and have a legitimate conversation. I really don't know what more you would add, because
the truth.
What do you mean, the truth of the plan?
Well, yeah, I'm just curious because, say the other week we had this conversation about Zeke and Levi, right? And then we've had it in earlier episodes before, and one of the the prevailing arguments in it was that, okay, Zeke has told him lies at this point, but why not at this point try and tell him the truth and be like, okay, here it is. Do you agree or do you not? And if you don't, okay, get out of luck or whatever. I'm going to go through with the 30 Titans or whatever. And if you do, great. We're able to do that and we're able to get a little bit towards it. And so I was wondering if in this scenario, if you would echo the same thoughts on something like that, being that was generally your stances on it. Like does Pieck or whoever, instead of going through and be like, okay, this is the plan, this is what we're doing, try and do something. Because you also said the same thing for Aaron, actually, like going way back. So, which is a very similar scenario. So I'm curious to know if
similar but different because we've already like all the prior scenarios have already panned out. So it's like it kind of reaches a point where it's like these conversations can only happen at certain moments, at least to where I feel like they could happen. And at this moment now, just with the blimps coming in and on all of the different factors that are coming into it, I just feel like a conversation at that moment wouldn't have been productive to any solution. Like that's the thing where it's like in the Zeke and Levi one and those, like I feel like a conversation at that moment could have proved for a different solution given that scenario based off events that happened by the snap of their fingers at that moment, literally by Zeke and quite literally by Zeke, by literally just turning all of them into Titans, and like this is one of those moments where no matter what conversation that they have, it wouldn't matter because of all the underlying things that are happening, like the blimps already coming in, like they're not just on standby on call, and like I don't know, like I just feel like
no. I was just curious to hear just curious to know where you stood
feels the same way
on that one.
I just couldn't see a conversation.
Fair enough.
This time around.
No, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think personally, my personal opinion, just with the cards that have been laid out on the table, and I could eat my own words here if there's some like super heist level coup freaking craziness that Pieck and the whole squad have known since frame one, and like they're they've masterminded this like crazy plan or through the help of Zeke or whatever. I personally don't think that's the case in my personal opinion, just because of some of the cards that have been laid out. I just don't see logistically where that ends besides dead ends when they go back, and I could eat my words on that.
So,
if there's a wild thing that comes out of the woodwork that's like we haven't seen before.
Well, not to cut you off, but with what you just said, I feel like, and I don't, with what I just said, I also mentioned, I don't agree with it. But with that statement that you just said, all you see is dead ends with it. Don't you kind of see only dead ends with the situation that they're given, and especially with the mindset that Pieck has? Like you stated before, you don't see where anything goes. So although you may not see, although all you see is dead ends, for me, with the plans that are going on right now that we see, almost all you see is dead ends other than, going through with the euthanization plan or some other thing that Aaron might be able to pull out of his butt. But even then is still going to be far-fetched given the scenario. So, like, in my eyes, I see dead ends from every angle that we're talking about, almost, barring a few.
Well,
so, like,
let me get past the sentence to kind of flesh out my point here. What I mean when I say dead end in this sense is that if it's a euthanization plan or if it's the rumbling plan, I don't mean dead end as in like, okay, those plans suck because it's going to be, the nixing of a race or a world war, right? That happens. I guess I mean dead end as in I don't see how much further the plan can go on their end if they get the Founding Titan over to Marley and then they all go back. Besides now Marley having the Founding Titan, we can't cause the rumbling, we can't do euthanization, and now it's just, we hopefully, I don't know if they try and do some sort of rebellion, but it just seems odd because to me, it just seems like that ship has kind of passed. So I guess that's what I was saying in terms of dead end. I feel like their options become even more so limited if the projected goal is the future safety and propagation of Eldians, right? Just in general, and to alleviate said suffering. I guess that's just the way I see it. So I guess I was just kind of confused with Pieck's, not confused, I understood it, but I was, curious to see where Pieck's motivations lied or if there was any more backstory. We got to that just in general because it just seems like, the pin got pulled off of the grenade now. So it's just kind of like all's coming loose.
I'm curious. So you, in that plan of hers, you're saying that like they would get the Founding Titan from this fight and then they would go back to Marley, like, headquarters or whatever. And like then try to pull a ruse on Marley?
Oh,
or
I
whatever?
don't know. I guess that's my point in all of this is that I don't know, if it's like, okay, what do we get the Founding Titan and then attack the blimps that came with us or something, right? Because, like, I guess that's the alternative. I guess my point is that, like, them going with some like master ruse besides being like, I'm going to fight for my friends. And then, we'll come back to Marley and like, if they're going to go that route, if they even did do a ruse, maybe they just chill there and live out their days or whatever the hell is going on. I guess I'm just saying that it's like, to me, it's like with the cards that we've been given, I don't see a scenario unless there's like some wild flip where it's like they could successfully or want to pull off some sort of like wild thing because it's just so disjointed, you know what I mean, in that way.
Well, I think if what Pieck said is true, and she's like, the thing that we all have faith in is each other, meaning like they're allies. If Zeke hatched some, golden goose mastermind plan here where it's like, all right, this is going to be like some long con stretch, but it's going to require all of us tricking Marley into thinking we're still on their side, while meanwhile, like, we have some other alternative where it's maybe we get all the Titan users together and it's just about us and, like, using the rumbling. And my thing actually, though, is that Zeke, whatever Zeke told the rest of these other, Pieck, Porco, and everybody is like 90% of the plan. Like, I think whatever Zeke actually wants to do, he's only told these other people, like, almost everything, right? Just enough of as far as like the how to get away from Marley or how to separate ourselves from that, from those shackles, so to speak. But like that.
I'm sorry. I'm just not seeing this though, because like this is what's riddling me the wrong way, right? So we get Pieck's words where she says a lot of, she's like I always got the feeling that Zeke was telling lies. The only time that there's this air of truth, the only time that I could tell that he was genuine, which I do believe is true, is when, he was talking to you. I genuinely believe that. And the fact that Zeke was ready to just give it all up, pull the pin, and kill himself on a dime there with the sentimentality of his former stepfather, I guess I'll call him, who shared the idea of this plan with him and wanted to see it through to fruition. He said, "Are you watching me now?" Right? Like, I'm going to blow myself. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take out one of the most powerful opposition to that plan in Levi in that moment. It just seems very odd to me that it would be even like another thing on top of that past it, almost like, what's the point? Like, it just seems it's like, what more could there be? And again, I could eat my words on that if there's some like wild, crazy like flip of it, but I don't know if, I just like, to me, it seems like, oh, make sure Porco gets the Founding Titan. So then we could like do this and that. And like the fact that he went with Eren, and he like explained this plan, there were genuine tears running down his eyes. Like, the body doesn't lie. Like, those are genuine emotions. Those are genuine things, unless Zeke is like, playing some like, double, triple actor. But again, you could say that, fair enough. And I guess we could just go down a rabbit hole with like 9,000 different scenarios in which that would happen. I guess what I'm just saying is, like, based off the things that we've been given so far, and again, some of them could be lies. So like, I get where it's going. I guess I was just curious, and if anyone has any clarification, if we maybe missed anything in terms of misquoting someone, or if there's, something that we maybe had already seen and glossed over to go on to one theory or another, but I don't want to spend all day.
Well, I just have one more point, because it also doesn't have to be Zeke at the end of it, because I think a good point that Isaiah made was with Reiner, like, their purpose to coming to Paradise Island right now is to get the kids. It isn't even getting the Founding Titan. So, sure. The fact that they even did a shot on Eren with Jaw Titan, was a little bit unorthodox in terms of the plan if it was just to get the kids. So I do feel like, given it doesn't have to be necessarily set in stone from Zeke or someone like that, but even if they knew of Zeke's plan and the route that they were going on, you could pick up the pieces and come up with something and really utilize the situation that they're in to get around to another means to an end, which is really what I was trying to go on in just a rant and convoluted throwing shit out there. But that's where I think, like, there is still something underlying to this, whether it's Reiner, which would be really weird if it was, but also kind of makes sense, and honestly just Reiner just die. But there are just so many avenues I feel like that they can take, given different explanations and circumstances, what they want to come up with. But now that I sold my piece. If you want to,
no, okay. That's fair. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's tough because it's like
anything could happen.
You're throwing around. It's like, I could be like, well, meatballs could start falling out of the sky, and it's like, well, if Zeke can do that with the mounting titan, you know what I mean? It's like,
watch they end it. They're like, oh, they all look up. There's like a meteorite coming down, and it's like, oh, the world ends up. Time goes by, and you're just like,
it's aliens.
It's like at that moment when you're about to get like the answer, the full relief of the show, and it just completely pulls the rug out from under you.
No,
it's not gonna happen. I just wanted to.
No, aliens. It's probably aliens at the end of the day. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious to see where we go from here. I'm curious to see the trailer for the second part coming up.
How long is it?
I don't know. Somebody posted in our Discord, so I don't know. We should probably watch it. It'll be kind of cool to see. But I don't know. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, where the f***'s Levi?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so done with bro.
Crazy. Anyway, I think we're done here. Listen, folks, went on a bit of a rant at the end there, but hopefully you guys don't mind. If you liked the content today, make sure you guys are smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe and hitting that bell if you are new here or if you haven't yet. If you haven't yet, and if you made it this far, you might as well, right? You made it this far. Comment your thoughts down below as well. What did you think of our conversation about the episode, where the show is going? Obviously, don't spoil anything if you are a manga reader. And if there's anything that we may have glossed over or missed outright, it's a lot to take in, these episodes for sure. And let us know how excited you are for the part 2 of season 4 of Attack on Titan. And again, thank you to Mappa for animating it because it's been a long time coming. We also have our comment of the day. It comes from iGrizzly. iGrizzly says, I know the reaction videos are more popular, but these podcast discussions are my favorite of the content you guys produce. Thank you. That means a lot because these, weirdly enough, take more work in some respects at times. And, we know that they don't get quite as much of the reception because it's not like the bang, boom, the crazy reactions in that moment. But it's fun to theorize and to talk and to have these conversations. And although things might get heated from time to time, it's like, it's all part of the fun to debate and share different opinions.
Completely wrong ideas. Like,
it
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's cool to theorize about that kind of stuff, even though we know it might not get the same sort of reception that something like a live reaction would. So the fact that you, among other people, enjoy this style of content is something that we truly do appreciate. And that's why we keep on doing what we do. Also, I feel like you're doing the show a disservice if you don't have like an in-depth conversation about virtually every episode, because it's just that deep, especially when it comes to Attack on Titan. It's
you don't have to record it. That's just something extra we do.
That's fair. That's something we do.
If you're in the bathroom,
you definitely
you want to talk to yourself about it.
Right? So hopefully we're
like, Mom, Attack on Titan.
Somebody needs to watch Attack on Titan so I can talk about it with them, right? But I think that's kind of what we're doing here, is that we're providing this opportunity for people that may not have a friend or family member who watches this show and just wants to talk about it with someone while we're not directly talking. You're able to kind of catch some different opinions, comment your thoughts, and all that kind of thing. So it's like just chilling on the couch or in the living room, whatever, and you're just shooting the shit about this show that we all love. So thank you very much, iGrizzly, for the comment, and to anyone that enjoys our content as well. Not that I'm going to be able to shout out this next comment until like months in the future for our comment of the day. But I guess question would be simple one. What 3 Titans does Aaron have inside of him?
I do love doing the 3s.
I do love doing the 3s. Yeah, what 3 Titans does Aaron have inside of him? Answer that and comment whatever, and we'll know that you made it until the end of this video. I just want to bring up one more thing, though, that did bother me. I just thought of this now.
Oh, God.
Gabby. Is anyone like slightly, I don't know why, but I was like slightly irritated that I felt like through this whole, sorry, I just went to go end the episode and now I'm not ending it. All right, Gabby, I feel like it was annoying that Gabby went through this whole thing, right? And then she gets this talking to from Pieck, and I was like, oh, this is finally going to be what cracks it for her, right? Because like if anyone's telling her, it's the person that she looks up to as like a literal god or a celebrity, like she's got to crack here. But then I felt like, and fair enough because of the way the course of events planned out, but being that all this happened, I feel like Gabby now doesn't change. You know what I mean? From where she was. And it's like she doesn't get that new perspective because now she's like, oh, Pieck was just kidding. You know what I mean? Like Pieck's here and Pieck's like, she's not going to be like, Pieck's like, oh, I would never betray my comrades. Right? Like maybe I don't trust Marley, but like these are here. And I just feel like that's not what I was looking for with Gabby because it was like this flip on the script. Like the opportunity was there. Even Aaron was like, oh, go get Falco because this city's going to be, you know what I mean? Like, which again makes me think there's some ulterior thing there, you know, but I'm like, oh my God, like this is the opportunity for her to flip the script on this broken idea, which has been hard to root out. And that was like the best chance we got. But now it's like she's just cemented in that corner again.
Anybody other than Reiner could shake her on this because I think Reiner specifically is the one she looks up to the most.
Fair enough.
So like she hears Reiner say that and she's like, whoa, wait a fucking second. Like you? Like, yeah, I get Pieck and all that, but like you? But I don't care. I'm so over her, dude. If she dies tomorrow, I won't shed a tear. Like, I'm just so whatever. I don't know. Whatever, dude. Like, I can't imagine that somebody could like go through what she's gone through and not even like once in a room in a corner by herself be like, maybe I am wrong here. Like,
well, I felt like that was the point. I felt like when she was in the room and then it all got reversed again, which was the real kicker. Yeah. And I'm like, no, we were there. She was questioning everything. Like when Armin was there, you know, and then she's like, oh, you don't want to kill me. And then she's in the room by herself. And she's, of course, she goes to Pieck like, what are you, a traitor too? But like, you can tell that she's got like this, like there's things going on. The gears are turning in her head. And then Pieck was like, oh, this is it. This is going to push it over the edge. And then that happened. It was like, oh my God. Like, I swear this character's driving me crazy, this character arc. But anyway, had to throw that out there real quick because I felt like that was a good talking point. But anyway, huge shout out to our patrons as well, especially our acolytes of Anime, Stoic, Nathan. We love all your beautiful faces. But until next time, we will catch you all on the flip. Peace out.
Pasta.
Ninjas and samurais, blaze of the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly. They like what you saying, Goma got more through the storylines. I tested your neck from the start, my hunters gon' come for your heart. I promise you'll land in my boulevard, left them in one piece, no